Let's start with the UFC stuff first, Dave, because that was kind of really the biggest story of the week, the move to Fox from Spike. I just wanted to get kind of your basic thoughts on the ramifications and how this will play out for the UFC, because this is a pretty major deal.
Well, I mean, there's so much to, it's really hard to look at this because it's a 7-year deal.
Right.
And so much can change in 7 years. So much can change in 2 years. It's a big deal. It's the biggest deal they've ever made. I mean, it's huge money. It's huge exposure. Some people talk to me and believe that this is like the thing that's going to, in the United States, almost render pro wrestling and boxing obsolete as far as in the comparison. Because,
wow.
They're going to be the Major League One.
Mm-hmm.
Not that the other ones won't exist, but this will be like the big one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You never know what could happen. I mean, there's going to be a lot of MMA. Maybe it could be too much. I mean, we've already seen in the last year and a half. A little over a year, the ratings have dropped, substantially for UFC.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
the buy rates have been down this year. There's a lot of reasons for that, and the injuries are a big part
sure.
of it. But we haven't had anything like UFC 100 in 2 years.
Right.
So
well, just looking at the new deal too, the amount of shows they're going to do just for TV, it's crazy. It's like 32 Friday night events or something.
Yeah, but most of those are going to be Ultimate Fighter shows, which will be like 45 minutes of the week before in the house, building up to 1 15-minute fight.
Okay, right, okay.
So those are going to be 1 hour shows. So it's not really like live shows. So, but actually, I think that doing the Ultimate Fighter fights live, which is part of the deal, I think that's going to revitalize the show.
It needs it.
And the other thing is that they're going to allow the fans to vote on the fights for next week.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to take from like American Idol and Dancing with the Stars and things like that, to get the fans more involved. Which I think those things are really going to, and plus again, instead of this happening months and months ago and watching it later, this is going to be live. And the other aspect of Ultimate Fighter is the two coaches, instead of the two coaches just coaching and then months later fighting,
mm-hmm.
months later.
Yeah.
They're going to be fighting the week after the season ends, so you're going to be watching them in their final stages of fighting. So the show is going to double as the 24/7 instead of for 3 weeks, for 13 weeks.
Right.
For a big match, whoever the big match will be, with the two coaches. So, I mean, there's there's a lot positive out of this.
They've done a lot definitely to work towards keeping the fans hooked for that. Do you think this is going to finally give them like the mainstream acceptability? Dana White, he's always going on about ESPN doesn't like it, and this type of stuff. Is this deal going to give them that mainstream? Will they get covered like baseball, football? Will that happen because of this?
It will help, but not completely. No, I think that there's a lot of traditions to break down. Put it this way, if the ratings are really big, it will help. But in the end of the day, the people who in the media, it's not a sport they grew up on, and until people who grew up on the sport, are in power,
mm-hmm.
that won't happen. And as far as ESPN goes, it's actually going to hurt them as far as ESPN coverage goes, because ESPN, in the United States, ESPN, treats hockey as like a fourth-rate sport, even though it's absolutely not a fourth-rate sport in the United States, because they don't have hockey. And when ESPN covered UFC big, it was because they were negotiating to get UFC.
Right.
And that's because you remember like there would be times like the Liddell Quentin Jackson fight where it was like wall to wall, and you're going, oh my God, and it's because they were in negotiations. Or after the Lesnar Frank Mir fight, the second one, when they were looking at doing a Tuesday night show, they were talking about it like crazy. But then when the negotiations fell flat, they've had big fights that ESPN barely touched, and this. The prime example is ESPN is giving no publicity apparently to this week's show. They canceled Dana's interview, and
right.
So as far as ESPN, there's going to be less coverage.
Right.